Today I want to reflect with you on the meaning of the feast of the Epiphany using Sandro Botticelli's Adoration of the Magi. What does Epiphany mean? In our everyday language, an epiphany is a moment of sudden and great revelation or realization. What is the revelation or the realization that Matthew wants to give us with the story of the Magi? The primary revelation and manifestation in both the Gospel of Luke and the Gospel of Matthew is the fact that the first people that came to adore Jesus, that they recognized Jesus for who he truly was, they were not the leaders, they were not the priests, they were not the scribes and the Pharisees, they were not the religious people, but they were the outsiders. In the Gospel of Luke, the outsiders are represented by the shepherds. In the Gospel of Matthew, the outsiders are represented by these three wise men that came from afar. The Epiphany is first and foremost the story of God that took on flesh like us. Jesus is the center of the whole feast day, and Botticelli makes this very clear in his painting. Jesus is the center, Jesus is the focus of the whole painting. Mary is holding Jesus lovingly. She is looking at him tenderly and reverently. And behind Mary and Jesus there is Joseph, leaning on an elbow, also looking tenderly and lovingly on both of them. And next to his elbow, notice there is bread and wine, food and drink. Then the crowd forms like a semicircle around the Holy Family, and the way they have been painted, they make the viewers focus on Jesus. He is the center. And the closest person to Jesus is the first of the Magi. He's kneeling down, adoring this child. He's reaching out towards the child, notice, out of respect, because he recognizes the divinity in this child. He covers his hands. He doesn't even dare to touch Jesus directly. The other two Magi are kneeling down in front of Jesus. We see them on the foreground of the painting. They are looking at each other as if talking to each other. In their hands, they are holding the gifts that they are going to present to the child Jesus. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Sign that they recognize his divinity, his royalty. They have uncovered their head out of respect because they are before the new king, the King of Peace. But so far I have looked at this painting with 21st century eyes. We need to go back a few centuries and look at it in its true historical context. The painting was not meant to be displayed in an art gallery. The painting was meant to be an altarpiece for the chapel of Gaspare dell'Ama, who was a very rich merchant during the Medici rule in Florence, and now he had commissioned the very young Sandro Botticelli to do this painting for him. And that's why Sandro Botticelli painted his patron Gaspare dell'Ama as one in the crowd. And here he is. But how did Gaspare dell'Ama become rich? Because his patrons were the Medici family that ruled Florence at the time. And that's why in this painting, the three Magi are all members of the Medici family. The first one to reach out to kneel down in front of Jesus is Cosimo de' Medici, the grandfather of the family. By the time of this painting, he had already died, and that's why Botticelli has him worshipping Jesus. But then, on the right-hand side of the painting, there are the other two de' Medici members, Piero de' Medici and Giovanni de' Medici. And then Botticelli on the left-hand side, he even included Lorenzo de' Medici, who was the ruler of Florence at the time of the painting. The other element to be noticed is the fact that Botticelli paints his Adoration of the Magi not in a cave, not in a stable, but among Roman ruins. What is he trying to say? Is he trying to say that Florence under the de' Medici family is more powerful, more lasting than Rome itself? But there is also another interpretation to the background as Roman ruins. Is Botticelli trying to say that the Christian message, the message that Jesus will bring to us, has outlasted all the pagans' idols of Roman times? But who is the young person on the far right of the painting looking directly to us, the viewers? It is Sandro Botticelli himself. It is his self-portrait. He is actually telling us that now, as a young artist, he is blossoming, and he can now be considered a part not only of the nobility in Florence, but of the very ruling family of the de' Medici. Can you see why I'm so ambivalent about this painting? From the point of art, it is a masterpiece. But Botticelli subverts the meaning of the Epiphany in this way. Do you remember? The birth of Jesus is welcomed by outsiders. Can we really call the de' Medici family and the nobility in Florence as outsiders? And remember, this was meant to be an altarpiece, and therefore it would dominate the front of the chapel right above the altar, so that the whole congregation could see this painting, and when the priest celebrated the Eucharist with his back to the people, he would also face this painting. And when the priest would raise the host at the consecration, the host would align directly with baby Jesus. When the priest raised the chalice would align directly with baby Jesus sitting at the center of the painting, to proclaim that the Eucharist is the body and blood of Christ. And can you see also the link with Joseph, who has food and drink next to him, wine and bread next to him? Jesus becomes the food, but for whom? For the outsiders, not just for the nobility. I truly admire the beauty of this painting, but I do not listen to the message that Botticelli is giving us about the nobility and the de' Medici family. I rather listen to the message that Pope Francis has been giving us in the Joy of the Gospel, in which he tells us that more than by fear of going astray, my hope is that we'll be moved by the fear of remaining shut up within structures which give us a false sense of security, within rules which make us harsh judges, within habits which make us feel safe, while at our door people are starving and Jesus does not tire of saying to us, give them something to eat. And that's why Pope Francis keeps telling us that our church can only be the true church of Jesus Christ when we reach out to the peripheries, when we go to the outsiders. At paragraph 49 of the Joy of the Gospel, he tells us, I prefer a church which is bruised, hurting and dirty because it has been out on the streets, rather than a church which is unhealthy from being confined and from clinging to its own security. May this revelation, this epiphany, become a reality in our lives as we celebrate the feast of the Epiphany. Bye now, and thank you for watching.